What's up, guys? Tom Harold here with TomTom TV, back with another video. Today, I have the privilege of spending some time with Doe Paoro, a singer-songwriter hailing from upstate New York that brings an ethereal sound within her music, blending elements of pop, soul, and R&B, most exemplified in her latest studio album, Soft Power, released in October of 2018. This record taps into a vibe reminiscent of the 50s and 60s, intertwined with the essence of music greats like Kate Bush, Leonard Cohen, and Carole King. In addition to talking with Doe about this album, which is my personal favorite, we will touch on the correlation of spiritual growth and creative expression.
I stay busy, I know, but it lives in me, actively backing me into corners, can't control the impression you left on me like a tattoo.
So the first thing I noticed when I was checking out the album is that you decided to record directly to tape.
Yes.
For this. So for the entire album, you just recorded directly to tape. That's quite an accomplishment. I feel like it puts so many limitations on you, doesn't it?
Yeah. And, you know, the thing I learned from making this record is that with limitations, there's actually a lot of freedom. And something about recording to tape requires a certain presence, I guess, because it's not like you can just have limitless takes. It's precious. And that was special, especially in this age of like the digital endlessness, the privilege of digitalness. So, yeah.
There certainly is. I think tape certainly has its own warmth and depth that really you can't reproduce any other way. I think that's why it's so popular still in studios. But I think it's really an accomplishment to be able to sit down and turn out an album without having the luxuries necessarily of, you know, punching in and recording digitally. So, yeah, really like that. What was it like working with producer Jimmy Hogarth?
Yeah, you know, I think what you just said about the tape, there was like one word that really stuck out to me, which is enduring. Why tape has endured so much. It's like the endurance of music is something that I think a lot about. And it's something that really drew me to Jimmy because he's a producer who also thinks about like music in terms of what will be timeless and what endures. And he's an amazing producer. He's worked with so many specifically like women who I think have big voices and who I respect a lot. He worked with Amy Winehouse. He worked with Sia. He's worked with Katie Tunstall, who I've toured with. And so I think he's a very detail-oriented person, and he's also really sensitive and a great listener. And at this stage in my career, that's what I look for in a producer more than any aesthetic thing. It's almost like, is this person somebody I can feel safe around to explain my vision, and will honor that because it's not as easy to find as one would think.
Did he approach with the suggestion of using tape, or was that something that you had in mind going into it? Yeah,
that was all him. He has the tape machine. He has a lot of really amazing analog and vintage gear, and he suggested it. And after I kind of told him what I was looking for sound-wise, and I was really excited about that, obviously.
So how long did the production process take for the album start to finish? Like how long of a journey was this album?
Well, it only took, I think, about like 7 weeks to make it. It took a year and a half to come out. So that's more of a reflection of like the label system than the actual creative process. One thing that we did with this record, which was just to be resourceful with our budget, is we had, I think, only 3 or 4 days, I can't remember, with the band. So we tracked everything with instrumentally in 3 to 4 days, and then spent the next weeks just kind of cutting through it. And I, redid some vocals or added harmonies, but interesting process that way.
One of your favorite quotes is about how the gentlest thing in the world overcomes the hardest thing in the world. Mm-hmm. How do you feel that this quote resonates with your album, and which songs do you feel exemplify it the most?
I guess like the first thing that comes to mind would be like Second Door or The Vine, like a Second Door being a sort of song about forgiveness and also self-forgiveness.
Always makes sense looking back. Do we get another chance? We know truth because it repeats. Could we end this different
something that questions these like constricting mythologies that maybe we've inherited and how we can open up to a greater understanding.
Motherland, fatherland, all your children are creators.
Yeah, you know, there's no part in the record where I say soft power, and it took me like a year to come up with that title, or I was just trying to understand like where is the title? What is the title? And for me, this record personally was about like coming into my own softness, my own vulnerability. And it's a record where I moved from New York to LA and had kind of had a few years in California chilling out from the harshness of the armor you have to build to live in New York City. So
yeah,
just encountering a lot of those things, and that quote just felt really right.
Awesome. So it's my understanding from checking out your interviews, and you've been asked it many times, is that the name Doe Paoro is really a celebration of the ability and freedom for us as humans to rewrite our mythology and change our paradigm. As you reflect on soft power, how, if at all, has your mythology changed as a result of its creation?
Let there be spaces.
Every time I make a record, I both celebrate it and I'm excited about it and intend for it to be something that you hope is timeless. And then also within like a year, you're kind of over it. And not over it in that you stop believing in it, but over in it that like new things have emerged. And I think that's the way you want it to be, because otherwise you're not growing, like at least for myself. So my mythology has changed in terms of, and this has been something that I had hoped for many years. Like I had put out the intention that I would stop needing like sorrow to be a source of my inspiration, because I noticed that my creative periods were often only inspired by loss. And I was like, I want to mend this relationship. I want my creativity to also be related to joy or related to just other places, because it creates this dependency on a state that I don't want to have that often.
Let it be free. Let there be spaces. Let them be true. It doesn't need.
And I think soft power is a place where I finally started cracking the code after that was made. And I was like, wow, I started learning how to write from other places and to challenge that, this idea of like the wounded artist being the only way to create from. So that's one thing I can think of.
So where can people keep up with, first of all, where can people get your album right now? I'm sure they can get it anywhere that's streaming, but is there a place we can throw down in the description for people to go to get your album right now? Right now,
yeah. You can get it on Bandcamp. You can buy it off my website. I sell vinyl on there. So that's just like www.doepaoro.com. Yeah. Yeah. And then all the music is on Bandcamp as well. Of course, it's on Spotify and iTunes if you want to stream it. But
awesome. Well, Doe, thank you so much for sitting with me and talking about your album. And guys, please go out and pick it up. Really appreciate you watching the video. So if you want to subscribe, go ahead and click my face right now. Click my face. If you want to see more Doe, click over here. If you want to see more Tomtom TV, click over here. And as always, this is Tom Harrell with Tomtom TV Live, signing off.